So today we're talking about the fifth mode of the major scale, which is Mixolydian. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now Mixolydian is pretty cool because not only does it have a really cool name, but it is almost identical to the major scale. However, when you get to the seventh, it's a flat 7. If you recall, the major scale kind of has a really sickeningly happy leading tone in it. That's 7. This gets rid of that and makes it a little more ambiguous, I suppose. It just sounds neat. And of course, I can talk about it all day, but playing it is going to put it into context. So this is the C major scale. You can hear right there, kind of, Now the C Mixolydian scale. It sounds a little more kind of floaty. Now there's a lot of popular songs out there in the Mixolydian mode. One in particular is Sweet Child of Mine. And I'm going to talk about it in what would be a standard tuning just because it's easier for the chords. The verse chord progression is D major, C major, G major, back to D major. So you might think that since D major is the home chord that it would be in the key of D major. However, we wouldn't have a C major right behind it if that were true. We would have a C sharp diminished. And we don't have that. The other thing too is that when we hit that G chord, briefly it sounds like we've come home. So we go D, C, G, and then back to D. So it kind of brings us home and then takes us back out. If you've been following along at home, you would know that D is the 5th note of the G major scale. And since we're emphasizing that chord so much, it stands to reason that the song is written in D Mixolydian. But what if I want to just determine the key of it off of that riff? Well, the problem is that that riff, the entirety of the intro riff, is in both G major and D major, because the only difference between those two scales is G major has a C and D major has a C sharp. The astute of you will notice that there is no C or C sharp, but there is every other note in that riff. So as I mentioned in this little diagram, Mixolydian has a flat 7 and Ionian has a regular 7. And that riff omits any 7. It's got every other note in it except for the 7. So that's why you can't just go off of the riff to determine the key. You have to look at the chords as well, and then realize that there's not really any rules in music to begin with. Thanks for watching.